Well, good evening, Denver Broncos fans, and welcome to the Denver Bronco Roundup. I am so dang excited to have each and every one of you guys here. Appreciate it so much. We're having a few technical difficulties. If you're looking for us on YouTube, we've been pushing YouTube. Of course, we're not connected on YouTube. You can check us out on Facebook. You can check us out on Twitter. And if you head to the Denver Bronco Roundup YouTube page, you can find us there as well. Thank you guys for bearing with us in all our IT issues. Welcome to the show, all of our viewers, and welcome to the shower. No, we're not in the shower. We're at the show. We're right here. We're right here with Albert, the Mile High Dutchie. Say hello to the DBR fans.
Yeah, I had my shower about 2 hours ago, so that is good. And good evening, everyone. It is opening season, opening week, and looking forward to it.
Yeah, the off season's over. And we know the off-season's over, regular season's here, because we finally get Jody Moncrief back in the house. Jody, man, we've been missing you. You've been gone. It hasn't been the same without you, buddy. We even had to try some little. We tried to sub in. You know, the internet connection was bad. Man, there's nothing like the Judge. Welcome, Jody. Welcome back, and welcome to Denver Bronco Roundup Country.
What is up?
What is up is right, man. I tell you, I was thinking about you. I was, I guess.
Best time of the year.
Best time of the year is right. I love it, man. Love it. Do have some friends jumping in the chat already. Want to get to them, and then I'm going to get right to Jody because I'm going to give him a little bit of love right off the top of the show since he's been absent. Got a little agenda all planned for you guys. So right off the bat, Lance Sanderson. Speaking of the internet connection guy, himself, Lance Sanderson subbed in from the Mile High Huddle last week. Fantastic show. Not the same as Jody. Lance always brings his own sprinkle. Loved having him on the show. Thanks Lance, so much for jumping on. And Kurt Valente, the wonderful Kurt Valente jumping in here as well, is saying, of course we should have known. He says, "What's up, boys? Game week. So fired up. So fired up." He had his own show last night on the K&K Sports Show. Check out. He's been doing fantastic. Kurt has been doing fantastic. Just blowing up the Broncos over on the K&K Sports Show. Check him out. Search him out. You won't be disappointed. K&K Sports Show. The other side, Kenny, sad to see the summer is over, but definitely not sad to see my three favorite Denver Bronco Roundup. Three fave from the Denver Bronco Roundup. Evening, fellas, and evening to you, Kenny. Appreciate it so much. We also know there's only one guy that goes about it this way, too. Mr. Ernie Mays in the house. Denver Broncos. Only the Denver Broncos. And who else we got in here? Mr. Jeremy Dressler coming in here saying, Raiders week. The hated Raiders. The rival Raiders. I'm going to get into the next question in a moment because we do want to give Jody a little bit of time here, and but we will give a nice little good evening, gents. And I believe this is from Michelle. But oh no, this is Danny Kitchen. This is Mr. Danny Kitchen. Thank you, Danny, for jumping in here. So great to see you. It's been a while. You've been tuning in as of lately, getting ready for the regular season. That's what's happening, man. So, and good evening, gents, on the countdown to the games that count. Yes, that's exactly where we're at, Michelle. Appreciate you jumping in the stream. Appreciate everyone being part of all of this, being part of the show. And this is what it's about, guys. It's your comments, it's your questions. And right off the bat, man, I'm going to go straight into it. I know that Jody wanted to spend a few seconds. I think he's going to roll out the robe. I think he's going to roll out the gavel. It's time for... We had an early game that counted. Speaking of Michelle jumping in here and saying that, we had an early game that counted in Colorado, but it belonged to the Colorado Buffaloes. Jody jumped in our chat session. He said, "Keith, just please. I know we got a lot of Broncos stuff to get to. I know everyone's excited. Give me just a few moments, and let me talk about the Buffaloes." Jody, the Judge, what did you see on Saturday, baby?
Electric. Prime took a 11 or 10 or 1-10 team. Probably one of the worst D1 teams, and just knocked off the team that was playing for the national championship in their house. Um, Electric. Shador Sanders is the real deal. He proved that. And Travis Hunter, over 110 snaps, both sides of the ball, and that kind of heat. Over 100, like 10 catches, 110 yards, an interception. He's the real deal.
Man, Prime came to Colorado and he brought it all with him, man. All of it, man. It's prime time, man. Prime time. It's prime time in Colorado, man. I'm telling you, speaking of prime time, there some prime time games for the Colorado Buffaloes. Dang right, man. I see that in the future, man. The way they're playing underneath that coach, the talent that he brought together. It's nice to see the Buffalo, the gold back on the map here in Colorado. Congratulations to Prime. Congratulations to the Colorado Buffaloes and the way they started off this season so far. So
I mean, and they took it serious. I mean, from 1-10 to you're now ranked in the AP 22, 25th in the USA Today poll. You were a 10-point underdog in Nebraska. Now you're a 1.5 favorite after that game. I mean, that's pretty incredible.
Yep, very incredible, very incredible. The comment I wanted to get to that was for you is from Lance. I wasn't sure what it was. I'm trying to flip through the comments really quick. Anybody who's done this, trying to be producer, he's wanting to know. Ask Jody why he ducked me on the show a couple weeks ago. Just kidding. Just kidding. Yeah, no, Lance was a fantastic fill-in, and it was fantastic to have you, Lance. Lance over at the Mile High Huddle has his own shows, has multiple shows. Those guys are spreading around like, butter across toast, man, these days. They're all over the place. You can find them on multiple shows. Go check out Mile High Huddle. Those guys are fantastic friends of ours, and they're, friends of ours, and we're friends of theirs. So it's great to have that camaraderie. Appreciate you guys so much. Got Kenny coming in saying, truth is, he and Kurt made a trip to Russ's house and had a nice motivational speech to him. Oh, wow. That's very nice, man. That's what's going on. Appreciate it. We'll get into some of these comments, but I want to get to this one. This is just a nice good evening and hello. It's from Mr. Michael Ronquillo. Appreciate you so much. Good evening, Keith, Jody, and Albert. Got those blue and orange hearts just blowing up our comment screen. Appreciate you being in here. And, guys, we have a pretty good agenda put together. Like I said, this long-awaited off-season is just about over. I mean, Thursday, NFL kicks off its season, and come Sunday, it's our turn. So I'm going to go to Albert first. Albert, in 3 words or less, I want you to describe the off-season. And anybody that's in that comment board, I want you to think of how would you describe this off-season in 3 words or less. Oh, he went with 3 distinct words. He didn't try to put them together and make a sentence. Long. Go ahead and exciting, optimistic. Long, absolutely. Exciting, optimistic. Go ahead and break that down for us. Give me the long, the exciting, and the optimistic. What does that mean for you, buddy?
So long, to see what our new head coach could do for us. It has taken several months, and then we got to see some in the training practices. We saw what is going on, and we saw the preseason games, and that really gets me exciting and optimistic of a really nice season, because it looks like Sean Payton has turned it around, and we have now a team that wants to win. And that's what it is for me.
I like it, man. I like it. Get excited, get optimistic. What was the first one again? Excited, optimistic? Long. Yeah. Yeah, there was some long parts in there, man. It seems like every offseason, no matter how it's shortened, however many pieces they put in, they can put in combines and drafts and training camps. Man, it's still long. It's still long. So, yep. Excited, optimistic, love it. over to the judge himself, Mr. Jody Moncrief. How would you describe this offseason? 3 words or less.
Leadership. Something that we haven't seen since Kubiak, probably.
Leadership. Love it.
I'm optimistic as well. Fans have kind of turned on a dime. They're optimistic, ready for the season. And the third one for me is a little different. Russ. The amount of talk that Russ gets on a day-to-day basis for an incomplete pass or something that he does wrong is just incredible. The way he gets nitpicked, and I hope that narrative is put to shut up after about 1 or 2 games.
Very good, man. I think a lot of Broncos country are right alongside you. The outside media is loud. They're negative, and they're weighing on Broncos country and what our thoughts are and the hopes and motivations of where we're at and where we think this team can go. It can be burdensome sometimes, man. It's tough to put all the naysayers to the side, look what's on the field, see what you see, and still say, hey, man, no, you guys are wrong. You're projecting this all wrong. So your 3 words again, Jody, give them to me again.
Leadership, optimistic, and Russ.
Love it, man. We do have a few people jumping in. First off, little Clayton coming in here. Clayton, appreciate you in here all the time saying, hey, guys, and hey to you, buddy. It's good to see you, man. It's always good to see all our friends and family out here on the Denver Bronco Roundup. Got a few answers coming in. Got Kurt Valente, like I said, over on the K&K show. He's 3 words for him: adult, as a head coach, running game, and Russ. So, man, you guys had the same number 3 there, buddy. Same number 3, and that number 2 that Kurt likes so much, Michael Ronquillo really likes McLaughlin. Yeah, here's a guy that really broke out. Wasn't the expectation, right? We were hoping that Javonte comes back. We bring in P. Ryan. We bring in Tony Jones Jr. We bring in all these guys. We're trying to make it all come together. We had Washington on there in the backfield. We had a lot of different guys. But it was McLaughlin that rose to the top, cream of the crop, on the roster, and out there proving exactly who he was in college could absolutely translate to the NFL. We'll start seeing it possibly week 1. McLaughlin is going to be, I think, a very exciting piece of this Denver Broncos team. I'll give you my 3 words, guys. Back on track. For the first time in a long time, I feel like this team is back on track. From the leadership that you guys were talking about, to the players that we put on this roster and the mindset they have, to the coaches below the head coach, right? The ones that matter, like an offensive line coach, one that we couldn't really point out last year and say, hey, man, that's a point of strength for this Denver Broncos team, and we're back on track because of our offensive line coach. That was not the case. I feel so much better about almost every piece of the puzzle that's come together in order to get this team back on track, man. And I'm excited about what's possible. And we'll be breaking down a little bit about what's possible. We'll be breaking down the Raiders game. We'll be breaking down maybe the season a little bit as we kind of go through this episode. So you guys get your thoughts put together on that. In the meantime, we're going to get back to the chat board, and Kenny's jumping in. He's got his 3. Defense, Peyton, and incomplete. For anybody who's ever watched a Denver Broncos game or been in attendance, like he says, it's from the fans. We all know what that's about, man.
Yep.
Sure do, man. Appreciate, again, Kenny coming in here. Defense, yes. I'm going to hit on that probably a little bit later myself. Peyton, we've all kind of hit on that leadership. And incomplete, well, kind of wraps right back to the very first, doesn't it? So, excuse me. Gentlemen, it has been such a long time. Such a long time. I'm almost ashamed of myself. We have not tested our fan base. We have not put them on notice We haven't asked them.
To ask yourself one question: do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk? To ask yourself one question.
Oh, I got on repeat. I didn't mean to do that. All right. Well, do you feel lucky, punk? Well, I hope you do, because it's... That's right, guys. It's Nopper's Knowledge. If you haven't been around, man, it's been a while. And like I said, feel ashamed. It's been a while since we put everyone to the test. When we bring on Nopper's Knowledge, Albert comes in. He has one person on this roster, right?
On this roster.
Make sure all the rules are all the same. One person on this roster that we have to guess who he's put together. Now, is this 53 or is this going to include practice squad? Help us out a little bit in that regard.
This is 53.
This is the 53-man roster. He's going to break out some info on this fine gentleman. We're going to try to guess just who this could be. Big prizes to who wins, because we all give a rounding applause on this end of the mic. So, all right, guys. Nopper's Knowledge. Got people coming in excited for it, including, hey, the wife yourself, Michelle coming in. Yippee, Nopper's Knowledge, Judge Jody. Man, we're on fire. We are tonight. We are. We're bringing it all. Albert's going to bring it right now. Nopper's Knowledge. What do you got for us, Albert?
Okay, this person was born on December 7th, 93.
Okay.
He's 6'2" and 240 pounds.
Okay, 93. What was that? He's a 20-year-old? 30?
29.
29-year-old. So almost 30. 29-year-old and I'm terrible at this. Give it one more time.
Okay.
He's how tall and how much weight?
6'2"
6'2",
and 240 pounds.
6'2", 240. All right, man. Any guesses in the chat? Oh, we're already getting one. Is it Mr. Cortland Sutton that's coming in from
Nope.
Mr. Kurt Valente? Oh, sorry,
Nope,
Kurt,
it's
man. Had to keep going, man. All right. Next up is...
Okay, he played for Montana State, and his school was Thousand Oaks in California.
Okay.
Well, I'll let Keith guess this because I think I know too.
I think we all know. We might have multiple guesses. I might let it go to the chat board. Oh, yeah, and there it is, man. Mr. Danny
Ding,
Kitchen's
ding.
coming in, I bet.
Ding, ding.
Mr. Alex Singleton. Mr. Alex Singleton, that round of applause we guaranteed you for your prize. Thank you, Danny Kitchen, man. Run through the rest. We have a few other people coming in here with Singleton as well. Kurt Valente, Jeremy Dressler, who, well, that's his backyard. He probably got to see him play since he lives in Bozeman, which is Montana State University location. So go through the rest, man. What else you got to tell us about Mr. Alex Singleton, sir?
So Alex Singleton is an undrafted rookie. He was undrafted, and he got signed by Seattle in 2015. He didn't even play with them. He got a contract with the New England Patriots pretty soon after that. He visited the Seattle Seahawks, Patriots, Vikings, and then he went to the Calgary Stampeders, and he played there for 3 seasons. And then he went to the Philadelphia Eagles, and since 2022, he is here. So yeah, and then this is something I would like to bring up.
Yeah.
Does anybody know, and you guys already know it, but in the audience, how many undrafted free agents or college free agents the Broncos have on the team, including the 16?
We'll let it breathe here for a second. You know, how many undrafted? Again, just to repeat the question for all our fans here. How many undrafted? He's going to get a little swig. Got to get your Gatorade in for a show like this, man. We're bringing it. Like I said, like Michelle said, we're on fire so far, man. All right, question again, just for our audience.
So how many total undrafted players do we have, or college free agents do we have on the team, or in the total of 16? We have the 16 as well.
So
did you also know that Alex Singleton is a dual citizen?
Oh,
He
Man,
also has a Canadian passport.
I'm glad that you didn't start that off on the Knoppers knowledge. We would have been like still sitting here. We would have been sitting here, and you know what we would have been hearing? All right. So first one coming in was Jeremy. He was saying 4 on this one. We had Ernie Mays coming in with 3. We have Michael Ronquillo guessing 6. And Kenny is Singleton. 2 Singleton and the long snapper. He's saying so.
No, in total, and that includes the 16 of the practice squad. The Broncos have 25 undrafted players, so 22 undrafted and 3 college free agents.
Wow.
And I do have a list for them. You want to name them?
Oh, I don't know if we need to go through 25 people, man. That's a long one, man.
No,
we will see a lot of these guys throughout the season, and that's talking about the exciting part. You know what I mean? That we were talking about a little bit earlier. This is part of the exciting part. When you start bringing in youth, when you start bringing in, I hate to say it, guys, but cheaper contracts, when you're talking about undrafted free agents hitting your bottom line, a lot of times those guys are going to cost a little bit less. Yeah, coming in here too, I would 100% agree. Jeremy coming in, he's saying, wow, 25? That is an amazing amount of players on a team. If you want to run through the list, run through it quick, Albert. I'll give it to you. Okay, buddy?
I'll give a couple big names.
Okay.
Tim Patrick, Jonathan Harris, Little John Humphrey, Jalen Virgil, Chris Manhutch, Brandon Johnson, Mike Purcell, Alec Palshevsky, PG Mustafer, K1 Williams, just to name a couple.
Yeah, there you go, man. People that we're going to expect throughout this entire season. People that we will have to rely on coming up, or maybe even playing on that 53. These are guys that we're expecting outside of course, Tim Patrick. We'll get to it another day, but I don't know how much longer he remains on this roster and a part of this team beyond this year. So that being said, thanks for the Knoppers knowledge, and my goodness, a secondary Knoppers knowledge with the undrafted free agent. Appreciate you, buddy. I guess we could always, throw you up there one more time. No, fantastic stuff, guys. Thanks for everyone that jumped in and was a part of that. We're going to get into the meat of the show, guys. I'm going to hit this real quick. Before we get into the Broncos, the practice squad, as we left it, was not filled as of last Tuesday. So I just want to get a little bit caught up on there. Ask you guys maybe a couple of questions on that one as well. But like I said, last time we left, we were talking about Sean Payton, George Payton deciding, were they going to stay till 2 a.m.? Were they going to stay till 5 a.m.? Were they going to go out and put any claims on anybody? The answer to that ended up being no, they are not. But I just want to go through, again, a few notables that were not brought back that I had on my list at least. Kyle Fuller, Tony Jones Jr., Montrell Washington, and Marquez Callaway. That was a big surprise for me. I'll hit the additions and then kind of a surprise as of recent release as well, and then I'm going to get to you guys as well. So Philip Dorsett, wide receiver, added. Lucas Krull, Krull, like the 80s sci-fi show, or sci-fi movie, tight end. David Sills, wide receiver, and Ben Neiman, linebacker, and then recently released Christopher Allen, outside linebacker. I'll go to Jody on this one first. Any surprises from the list of players I mentioned, or any that you would like to add as well? And then let's talk about it a little bit, buddy.
No, not really. Really, the only one for me was Marcus Callaway, just because of his ties with Peyton, and he's pretty loyal to a fault to some of his players. But Marcus Callaway did not really have a good preseason or do anything electric or dynamic. He was just another guy, really.
Yep. Another Jag out there. Just another guy out there. I felt that way at training camp. But again, I was there for the very first week, guys. After that, I took off, and well, so did the Denver Broncos offense. All of a sudden, the mediocrity that we saw in the first week, all I heard the second week and going forward, was how everything took off. So, it's tough to say, as locked down as it was Callaway having a better, training camp at that point, just not being reported on? We got our answer. Callaway was not having that great of a training camp. He didn't have that great of a preseason. And like you said, Jody, and fantastic point, I feel as we've brought in a lot of players this offseason, a lot of them have come from one particular destination, and that's the New Orleans Saints. He is very loyal to his people, coaches and players alike. And that being said, for him to move on, I think said something. For any of those who don't know, Marquez Callaway is not sitting on the street, however. He signed up with the Oakland Raiders, is on their practice squad. Interesting turn of events as we get into our next subject here just in a little bit in week 1, right, guys? So, Albert, what did you think about this list? And any surprises? Anybody that you want to add? And who do you want to talk about?
Yeah, the Philip Dorsett addition. I think that is probably also a sign that KJ Hamler is not coming back.
That's a good point, bud.
We have another speedster here, and Philip Dorsett is pretty reliable from what I hear and what I see. And KJ Hamler, he has not been 4 or 5 games in a row on the field. So,
yeah. KJ Hamler, I mean, hats off to a guy who did go out there and put effort in. You know what I mean? He just could not stay healthy. It was often injured. You can date it all the way back to his college career. He wasn't able to turn that corner when it came to the NFL. I don't know if our strength and conditioning that we had in place in prior years helped him any in that regard. But regardless, never really able to hit the field. Now dealing with a heart issue that we were hoping that he would come back with, or come back from. Maybe they'll come back into the fold. But yeah, that's a good point. With Philip Dorsett being added into the fold, here's a guy that I was excited about when he was first brought into the league with the Indianapolis Colts. Spent some time, obviously, funny enough, with the Las Vegas Raiders before he came to us as well. So we kind of did a little wide receiver swap, I guess you could say, right before week 1. But I was excited about what he brought to the table, and, a little bit more reliable, at least to be on the field or be available to be on the field on Sunday than what we see down at KJ Hamler. So good point there as well.
And here's the thing, you mentioned the injuries. I think that some of the injuries that we still have are still because of Landau, because there's a lot of muscle memory. And to retrain that, I think that takes a long time. And I think that's why we still see injuries of the same.
Yeah, and you're also asking your body to transition very quickly from maybe one diet, one exercise program, the way you lift weights, the way you're training in the entire off season. You're switching that, and that can, I think, cause a little bit of havoc within the body, and also lead to injuries at times as you're trying to make that switch. So I think even Sean Payton, if I remember right, don't quote me on it, said it's something that'll take 2 or 3 years before we truly see the benefits of this training program being in place. So one that I was surprised that wasn't brought up, and mainly by you, Jody, because you were asking a lot about this guy when I was down at training camp, and that's Mr. Christopher Allen, outside linebacker that was released. Unfortunately released with an injury designation, and is no longer part of the Broncos. But a guy that I was excited about, and I guess is, Jody, you were a little excited about him as well. So what's your thoughts on Christopher Allen?
I thought he had potential. He undrafted out of Alabama, had whatever his last full healthy season there. He had like 9 sacks. But just like KJ Hamler.
I think he throws up a little bit.
Just for a little bit. He is like KJ Hamler, though. The guy that
was just another number out there.
Yeah, guy that couldn't stay healthy, guy that, is, that we had high expectations for, especially fairly kind of similar, not the top of the draft, though KJ Hamler wasn't the bottom of the draft either. We had expectations for both of these guys to make potential impacts on this roster. Christopher Allen coming over from Alabama, he looked like a man on fire with that Alabama team, hoping it would have translated post-injury in the NFL, but just never got that traction to get past that injury and really be able to perform on the field. And I guess that shows with him being released with that injury designation in the end. So, Jody, you did end up freezing up for a little bit. I don't know if you knew that, but just heads up for you, buddy. We tried to fill in a little bit. So, that being said, guys, off season's in the background. If you didn't notice, it's kind of been a very, very, very telling up here. For those of you who don't know, I hail from Montana, and today, and well, really starting yesterday, the rain came in. It got cool. I was wearing jeans yesterday for the first time in months. Summer is gone. Fall is here. And we're going to start off with rivalry, week 1. Raiders coming to town. I want to get into it, guys. It's time to talk a little Raiders and Broncos.
All right.
All right is right, guys. Wanted to get into this, like I said. Kind of broke it down in our ad and wanted to get your guys' thoughts. We can start off. Who did we start with last time? I think I started off with Albert. I'll start with Jody. Either way, we'll get it all the way around the horn, guys. Kind of wanted to hit key matchups first and foremost. So, Jody, I want to know who scares you on the Raiders heading into this matchup. We talk about players, we could talk about coaches, talk about offense, defense, special teams. But who scares you on this Raiders team? AKA maybe who do we have to eliminate and make sure that we're taking care of them?
I would say 3 guys, but really only 2 because one is held out all off season, and I don't know what to expect from Josh Jacobs. He's ran all over us in the past, so he's a wild card. I don't know what kind of shape he's in. I don't know if he's going to get full workload. But 2 guys for me is one, probably if not the best receiver, a top 2 receiver in this league, Devontae Adams, and Max Crosby. Our O-line has not, been in a couple games they've played look great. And which O-lineman does he try to pick on? Have we gelled in the 3 weeks since they last were on the field together and figured it out? If they can figure him out, there's really no one else on that D that scares me, but he can be a game wrecker.
Michael Ronquillo coming in here and agreeing with one of your selections. He's saying Max Crosby, absolutely. Also jumping in here and saying the Raiders are trending down with the Chandler Jones saga. And if you guys haven't been tuned into that a little bit, Chandler Jones doesn't want to play for the coach, Josh McDaniels. And he's made it fairly well known on social media. I also believe he called out his GM, if I remember correctly. But he's not happy with his team and even made mention that somehow they contacted his ex-girlfriend, which I don't know how that comes into play, but what's going on in Las Vegas, maybe he should stay in Las Vegas. We'll press on. I don't know what's happening with Chandler Jones, and so it doesn't sound like, at least at this point, we'll even see him on the field. Jumping over to you, Albert. We got Devontae Adams. We've got Max Crosby out there, on the table from Jody. Is there anybody else that you're scared of, or do you want to elaborate on either one of those 2?
For me, it is a wild card is Josh Jacobs. He has been our defense wrecker for several games now.
Yep.
And if they cannot stop him, it's going to be a difficult game for the Broncos. And so, for me, Josh Jacobs is the biggest wild card.
I would have to agree, buddy. I mean, he's got to be one of the biggest wild cards. Sorry, man, I got to get my eyes here real quick and just look real quick. But for me, guys, what that kind of speaks to is really a guy that we moved on from in Draymond Jones and kind of solidifying that center of the defense. And we moved on and we brought in Allen. And what will he bring to the table? as far as that run stopping ability. That's where we're supposed to see the best of him, and it's going to have to be shown week 1 as we go up against the Las Vegas Raiders. And Josh Jacobs, good point though, Jody, and I was going to make it as well. The fact that we don't know about Josh Jacobs. Here's a guy that's held out all offseason, came back as one of the latest guys that came back to a team in order to turn around and play week 1. You know, what's conditioning did he keep himself in? How much is he into the playbook is 2023 and 2024, and you know, how is he going to be able to play with his all his players to play alongside of him? You know, timing's a lot about what the offense is all about. So it'll be interesting to see exactly how Josh Jacobs perform. Running back is one of those positions that are probably the easiest to get back into the rhythm with. You're not that wide receiver while you're trying to figure out what route it is. Once you're having the hand of the ball, sometimes you just need to take off. So that being said,
there does not need to be a huge chemistry between a quarterback and a running back, but between a quarterback and a wide receiver.
Completely different. Completely different. I'm going to head right back to you, Albert. We'll go back down and around. Where can we take advantage? Where are the weaknesses of this Las Vegas? I always want to say Oakland. This Las Vegas Raiders team. How can we put points on the board? How can we stifle them, you know, as far as putting any points on the board themselves? What's your thoughts as far as how we can take advantage in this game?
It is very simple. Out coaching. This year we have a coach that can make the decisions on the fly. Last year we had one who could not even zip up his flight properly. But now we have a head coach who can make adjustments whenever needed. And we definitely can outsmart Josh McDaniels.
Very good, buddy. I appreciate you putting me into a full-on coughing fit there, man, with your comment there. But yes, I would have to agree that we have taken a major leap forward. No more counting down the clock by the fans week 1 in Mile High, in whatever field we are currently. Centura, Invesco, I can't remember all the different names that float around. But, you know, we're not going to be counting down the clock with a Sean Payton offense. We're not going to be 13 men on the field, 12 men on the field. We're not going to be delay a game penalty after delay a game penalty. There's going to be so much efficiency to this offense. It is a major factor in this game. There's maybe something to be said about, you know, Josh McDaniels and his coaching past and his coaching so far. And it's not top-notch. Not top-notch like a Sean Payton. So I think we got the advantage there. Jody, how do we take advantage of the Las Vegas Raiders? Keep them off the board, put points on the board, you know, exploit their weaknesses. How do we do it, buddy?
I know we want to run, but I think where you exploit the Raiders is in their secondary. I mean, you do see big names like Marcus Peters back there, but he's not the Marcus Peters of 3 or 4 years ago. And they have young safeties. Nate Hobbs is not an elite cornerback, in my opinion. That's where I think you can take advantage.
Yeah, this is a secondary that has struggled last year. Went out and tried to bring in a Marcus Peters in order to try to solidify that a little bit. Like you said, maybe just a little bit long in the tooth. Michael Ronquillo, by the way, also coming in and saying the Raiders secondary right on cue with when you were going with that as well. You know, it will have to be a point of emphasis, and it's a point of emphasis that we didn't necessarily think we wanted this Broncos offense to be all about. I think we will still run the ball. I think we will still try to push that narrative first and foremost, because run always sets up the pass as it is, and heaven forbid you're wrong and all of a sudden you just start busting off runs with Javonte and Pirine. Well, you just stick with that anyway. But I think the actual advantage where we can actually get the most out of this is, you know, and put up points on the board, is pressing that secondary by far. Did want to get your opinion real quick, Jody, too. You know, that's how we put up points on the board. Is there any way that we can limit a Devontae Adams, that we can limit a Josh Jacobs? How do we do something like that? Or is it or are the ways that we shut down this offense is by keying on one, the other, and shutting down all the rest? What are your thoughts on that? How do we take advantage from a defensive side of the ball? And Albert, I'll get your thoughts as well after that.
Get pressure on Jimmy Garoppolo. Yes, we're down probably our first or second best pass rusher, but you're going to see Randy Gregory for the first time in a Broncos uniform, 100% healthy, a full healthy offseason, and another guy who's been wrecking it all offseason in Jonathan Cooper.
Yes.
Pressure. Vance Joseph is aggressive. Exploit blitzes, and he trusts his corners. PS2 is the best corner in football. And Davari Mathis, that's what he played in college, man coverage. So this system is set up to, let him cook too. So
very true.
And
very
Justin
proven.
Simmons, who led the tie for the most interceptions last year. I mean, he trusts those guys back there. So I expect pressure, and Jimmy G is always good for one interception a game.
Yeah, I like the idea and the mindset, man. It plays right into what our team is about. The Denver Broncos and under Vance Joseph is going to be all about pressure. They're not going to let up. This defense can be and could be and very well may be one of the top elite defenses in the league. Why not take advantage of that and get after them, especially when you're talking about, it seems like outside linebackers and rushers, that are, as deep as the stalls are full, in during haying season, I guess you could say. So, that all being said, you think about it, between Nick Benito, Randy Gregory, Baron Browning when he comes back, Jonathan Cooper. I mean, the list just seems to go on and on about guys that can absolutely, get after this quarterback. Why not do it? Love it. Albert, your thoughts on how this defense can take advantage of, shutting down this Raiders offense? How do they do it? Like I said, we already went over a couple of key players, Devontae Adams, Josh Jacobs, that are key pieces on this offense that could be wreckers for us. How do we put it all together? And then we're going to get back into the comments for those who are jumping in here. Appreciate you.
So for me, it is the linebackers. And it is Singleton, Drew Sanders, and of course Josie Jewell. And if they can be a big part on it, maybe rushing the passer, but for especially stopping the run. And I think Drew Sanders is going to be a big part of that one.
Albert's been out there on that Drew Sanders bell, man. He's ringing it. He's ringing it hard. It's like the dinner bell out on the ranch, man. Ding, 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 ding. Come on in, man. It's time to eat, and he's put all of it, his everything on the plate for Drew Sanders right there to eat, man. Liking what you see, expecting him to step up, but a good point that wraps right into what Jody was talking about. If we're going to be blitzing, if we're coming off the edge, if we're sending an extra corner, those linebackers have to be, they have to man their gaps. They have to have integrity to their positions and to their, assignments in order to make sure a guy like Josh Jacobs doesn't end up sneaking through, as we're blitzing and going after Jimmy G. So those two pieces work in tandem and absolutely going to be keys to, I think, bringing this Raiders offense, reining them in and getting a win in the very end. So getting back into the comment board, got Matt Staffiero jumping in here and saying, coming in late, only way the Broncos have a chance of stopping Jacobs from controlling the game is it's a slobber knocker type of game. Run versus run, control the time of possession. So he's saying, hey, we gotta be, it's going to be a slobber knocker type of game. We're going to have to deal with Josh Jacobs. It's going to be on their agenda. And at the same time, we're going to have that same thing. We're going to have to be able to grind it out, pound it out, and get that time of possession. I think this is where I'll agree with Matt. In the very beginning of the season, you see a lot of this. You see a lot of this as offenses are not quite clicking. They're not quite, as put together as that defense. That defense is ready to go. They're healthy. They're strong. They've never felt better. They want to get after the quarterback. They want to get after the running back. offenses sometimes struggle out of the gate when it comes to the passing game. Sometimes they struggle, in getting things clicking. And so it does end up being one of those slobber knocker type of games, run versus run and time of possession. Fantastic. Chad Jensen coming in here. Chad, thank you so much for gracing the comment board as well. Rock the mic, dudes. Great convo. Appreciate it. Appreciate you being part of it. And, yeah, jump in here anytime, buddy. Love to have you here. Kenny from the great K&K Sports Show coming in here and said, I have to step away. I apologize if I mentioned it, but you have and apologize if mentioned, but you have to stop Davante Adams. I think you will be just saying. I think you will, but just saying. Okay, very good. So Kenny's running out of here, typing as quickly as he possibly can. Just saying he has to get out of here. He apologizes, but in his opinion, you have to stop Davante Adams, and he thinks, hey, no problem. Part of that is going to be why, guys? PS2 is going to be lined up on Davante Adams. Albert, I'll start with you on this one real quick. Just really quick. PS2 got burnt pretty good by Davante Adams last year. Davante Adams got the last word as far as the season was concerned. What makes us feel good that PS2 can now turn around and guard one of the top in the league in Davante Adams? Is it possible? Is he going to get a little bit of help? What's the game plan there, in your opinion?
We have an offense that will stay longer on the field, so our defense is not as tired. And I think that was big part of the big problem. If you're 70% on the field of the entire game, then big games, a cornerback can get burned. As a wide receiver does not spend as much energy.
I'm about ready to throw Nopper's Knowledge intro back up on there, that screen, man. That was fantastic, buddy. I like it, man. It's very true. These guys ran all over the place. If you're going to be covering some of the top wide receivers like a Davante Adams all game long, expect to run. This is not a guy who takes plays off, takes any time off when he's on the field. If you're PS2 and you're having to cover him all game long, eventually you're going to get a little bit tired. You're going to miss a step. It doesn't take much when it's Davante Adams. The rest will help this year for everybody on this defense, including PS2. Love the call out. Jody, how do you think did Albert nail it? Do you have another thought on how we stop Davante Adams and how PS2 matches up this year?
Get pressure on Jimmy G.
Going right back to it. I love it.
Going back right to it. I think that's the key. Jimmy G gets flustered. You can remember back to last year with San Francisco, stepping out of the back of the end zone, threw an interception late when they were, started to drive to take the lead. So
get that pressure.
Jimmy G makes a lot of good plays, but he's also good for 3 or 4 really boneheaded plays that with pressure, you can amplify that.
All right. I love it, guys. Love it. I don't know if we're going to get through a full agenda looking at the clock. We're going to try our best, and I'll try to pick it up just a little bit. I'm going to go right to Jody on this one because I remembered I did go to Albert on the last one. So what should the Raiders be most scared about? What are we bringing to the table that should have them shaking in their boots? Offense, defense, both? Give it to me, buddy.
2 things for me. One, this run game. I think he'll be on a little bit of a pitch count, but I think you see Javonte Williams probably 70-80% of the time. P. Ryan and home run hitter McLaughlin. And this O-line, they're brought here to run the ball. And I think they put it together. That's one thing. And then this defense, it's top 5 defense in the league. They've improved at a lot of it. Well, not a lot, but they've improved. I think Zach Allen is an improvement over Draymond Jones. Getting Ken Stearns back is huge. DeVar Mathis another year under his belt. First year starting, full-time starter. So I expect big things from this D. And Vance Joseph, he's an aggressive play caller. So that's what I'd be worried about.
I like it, buddy. I like it. This run game, this defense, which, like I said, could already be elite. I'm already talking about it, man. They could be tops. As if Albert says this offense can keep them off the field a little bit, watch out for the stats they might be able to put up. Want to hit the comments really quick. This is fantastic news, by the way. Michael Ronquillo coming in here and just letting us know that Mr. Riley Moss practiced yesterday. Big key piece. You talk about, Albert was talking about Drew Sanders, his addition to this defense, what it could mean. Riley Moss could be that piece in the secondary that could be that wild card, kind of like Drew Sanders.
You're breaking up a little bit, Cave. So, yeah.
Well, while he's breaking up, I want to add one more thing. Russell Wilson, he's a wild card because he's running the ball now, and he's going to show that he's not washed. And if you go in there and take him lightly that you're getting Russ from 2020, 2022, well, you're going to have problems come the end of the day. So,
well, I like that, man. Sorry for the hiccup out there, guys. Had a little, obviously, break in the internet, and it kind of leads me right in because I just want to hit a few comments and then get over to Albert on the same topic here. Kenny's coming in and saying, Kenny, I'm back, all good, thumbs up. Kenny, are you just trying to find a way to get all your questions in, saying, hey, I got to go, guys, really quick, but I just wanted to say this. No, I'm just giving you a bad time. He's saying, for him, safety help, in his opinion, help stop Devontae Adams, as well as some well-timed blitzes, so kind of piggybacking on what Jody was saying. Simply, they need to worry about protecting Jimmy G, and last one coming in from Jeremy, Raiders don't know what they're getting with coaching. 100%. Albert, how do we take advantage of the Raiders? How do we put up points? How do we stop them? Give it to me. What should they be scared about, buddy? What should they be scared about?
It starts with, it is a two-phrase thingy, or whatever you call it. Dull shitch. I think everybody is going to sleeping on Dulcich, and I think he is going to be the game maker of the game.
Wow.
Russ, of course, he will be able to run. What he didn't do last year, we will see him run more. And then, of course, we have the tree on the backfield. Hopefully, we will see a lot of 21 or 22 sets. And I think that is what the Raiders should be afraid of, our offense. It has been the laughingstock of the NFL last year, but I think they're going to turn it around.
Completely retooled, this offense. It doesn't matter if you talk about, the wide receivers that we were just going through that were brought onto this roster, especially as Judy's going to be out, and we're going to end up bringing a few of those guys up in order to fill in for the few weeks. You talk about guys like Troutman, you talk about guys like Powers, you talk about McGlinchey, you talk about Pirine. I mean, you can just feel like you can go on and on and on, but this offense is not the same offense that you saw last year, not just from a coaching perspective, but from a personnel perspective. There's plenty to be scared about sometimes when you just don't know. When you just don't know, when you have no idea what's exactly going to hit you, that's one of the things that we have, guys, kind of back pocket is hey, we are a brand new offense. We are a brand new scheme. They are trying to look at old tape from when, Sean Payton was last coaching and trying to project that forward. But this is all they have. And I love that sometimes if you're doing well, you can go ahead and you can take this and you can make it an advantage of yours, put it on the field, and start blowing out people early until they really get the pace of what you are doing and get an idea and a handle on the scheme that you're kind of putting together, guys. Boy, we're at 7:57, guys. I know that we were going to talk about maybe doing a full prediction for the entire season. I think we're going to have to shelve that and put that on the back shelf. We are going to get to our Raiders prediction. I did want to just do a couple of things. For anybody that's following along at home through Facebook, through YouTube, through Twitter, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to throw up just a little link to the Rocky Mountain Sports Network. This does happen to be a link to one of my latest articles. Albert's been killing it. I've been trying to throw in a little bit as well. But it's a link to just, again, as it says, calculating the Broncos' success It's not numbers and figures, so you don't have to be a mathematician. But I feel it's a pretty good read, guys, on exactly what I think needs to be able to hit for this Broncos team to be successful in 2023, 2024. So, Jody, let's start with you, man. You've been high on Russell Wilson. You've been high about this Broncos team. You've been excited about what all this is going to come together, conglomerate, put it in that witch's brew. It's almost October, so we're talking about Halloween, and the spell is going to come out, and it's going to be fantastic. What does that spell look like come, hey, this Sunday, 2:30 p.m. as we kick off versus the Oakland Raiders? What does it look like? Give me your final predictions, and for all of you guys and gals out there listening at home, love to get your thoughts as well. So, Jody, we'll start with you. Final score prediction, week 1. How do we start off the season?
I have a 31-14 Broncos win. I think Russ gets it going and gets it done. He's put in the work this offseason, from losing the weight to everything in camp, and I think it starts to gel, and I expect a big game from him. He had 2 of his better passing completion games last year. So, I mean, he can do it against his team. He's done it. He did it last year. And the little tweaks with Peyton, I expect a big game from him.
Fantastic. So, again, final score prediction of?
31-14.
31-14. I'm gonna throw a couple of score predictions out there that our comment board is blowing up in here real quick. So, love this one. Ernie Mays jumping in. 33-3, Broncos 1-0. Man, wouldn't that be a way to put out a statement and just, be there from week 1. Shut a lot of those guys over up at NFL Network up. If anybody's listening to Sirius XM or happen to be catching the Good Morning Football, might be able to shut a few of those guys up with a 33-3. So I like that, Ernie. We also got Kenny jumping in here. He's given a little bit closer one, 27-23 prediction. So still Broncos, we love it. And the great Michael Ronquillo, appreciate the Ronk coming in here saying Broncos 35 to the Raiders 17. So we got some big scores again. And then Jody, one last time before I go to Albert, your prediction was
31-14.
31-14. So we got 3 guys really pushing the score up there. Albert, do you follow suit? What's your prediction as the Denver Broncos head off?
I also want to answer Kenny's question.
No, you're not answering it yet. I'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry.
So
Sorry.
my prediction is 28-15 for the
28.
Broncos.
Man, you guys are.
They still have to shake a little bit of the rust off, but we will see a very improved Broncos offense and a defense, and I think we might even see a defensive score. I
like it, buddy. I didn't mean to cut you off on answering questions. I appreciate you, man. Kenny's rolling over there. Laugh out loud from Kenny there, but I mentioned it a little bit earlier. Here's a team that is trying to put things together. Here's a team that we want them to start off hot, and I love that everyone's 33, 27, 35, all these different these high score predictions, guys. I'm going to go a little bit lower. I think it takes just a little bit of time for offense to get chugging, but I do think this defense is elite. I want to give us a win. I'm going to start off with 24-12 in favor of the Broncos. I think we get that win. So, I think this team has all the pieces and parts to do well. I think we could still get one of those defensive scores, just like you were talking about, Albert. But I think this offense will struggle a little bit. Won't be clicking on 100% all cylinders, all 8 cylinders, as we used to say back in the day, right out of the gate. And it's to be a little expected. This offensive line still looked like it was needing to gel. As Jody said, hey, did we get there in 3 weeks? I'm saying we didn't get there 100%. I think there will be just enough that we don't put up, over 25 points and start getting into that upper tier or into the 30s. So that's my thoughts, guys, on the win. And now I'll let Albert start with Kenny's question, because he did bring up a fantastic question. He said, I would like to ask a question I asked on their show, the K&K Show. Fantastic K&K Show. Check them out. Search them out, K&K Sports Show. On a scale of 1 to 10, how important is a win in Week 1 for the Denver Broncos?
For me, it is definitely a 10. This game will set the entire NFL on its either on its back feet, tumbling backwards, or everybody starts to say, "See, we told you so." And I think that's why it is very important. Russ needs to win this game and to shut everybody up.
Got Patrick Wiltsey coming in here saying, score doesn't matter to me as long as we can score. If we only win 2 games a year, I want them to be the Raider ones. Well, man, forget about the Chiefs. Just beat the Raiders, man. There's a guy who has some Raider hate running through his veins, man, and I can respect that. Ernie Mays coming in here and saying 10. And Jeremy Dressler coming in here and saying 10, 10, 100. I mean, right off the charts is my guess with Jeremy. So, Jody, what are your thoughts? How important on a scale of 1 to 10 is this game for us to go 1-0 in?
No, a 9 for me, but for some other reasons. One, the psyche of this team. You paid a bunch of money to Sean Payton, brought him over. He was supposed to fix everything. And if you go out and don't get a win against a team that's not projected to do very well this year, that's not a good start. But in the grand scheme of things, if you lose this game, you can bounce back. Long season. So that way, I think it's not as important. But for the psyche of it, you got to get – I mean, if you ever want to shut up the Russell Wilson talk, he needs to come out and have a good game, or he's just going to get blasted all week, and that's all you're going to hear. And what is Sean Payton a QB whisperer, or can he turn this team around? For those reasons, I think it's high up there, like a 9.
Very good, man. 9s, 10s, 100s. I feel like I'm the black sheep of the family sometimes over here on the Denver Bronco Roundup, and that's okay. That's okay. I'm going to put this at a 3. I might raise it to a 4. Your arguments were good, guys, and I understand exactly where you're coming from. But the reason I have this at a 3, at least to start, is because of some of the reasons you guys were talking about. We have Sean Payton, and we have a coaching staff that I feel, regardless if we go and lose this game to the Raiders, opening week, at home, we have the fortitude, we have the mental fortitude, we have the strength to move beyond that and not let that be our entire season. And that's why I rate it as a 3. I think that, yes, I want the win. I think that it would be great to shut up the media. It would be great to shut up all the critics. It would be great for the psyche of this team. But at the same time, we are finally back on track, and we can weather a storm of a loss in week 1 if it happens to come, and still make a push to be a fantastic team competing for the playoffs in the end, in my opinion. I don't think it matters that much. Kenny's on the opposite side of the thing, saying, this is Kenny, I agree with Albert. For me, because it's a 9, because you're supposed to be better than the Raiders, and losing at home could be disastrous for Russ, fans, and even Sean Payton, in his opinion. And he's saying, just to let you know, for the record, I have the same number on my Giants Sunday night. So, yes, important for the Giants, important for the Broncos. I just think we can weather the storm, and I at least feel like we are in the place to finally do that, a place that I haven't felt comfortable, whether it be a VJ or a Fangio or a Hackett or you name it. You know, those guys, I never felt confident that, hey, they have the ability to rally this team, get them back on track, and we're going to be able to be ready to compete week 2. I feel that way with Sean Payton. It's a nice feeling, guys. It's not bad to rank it as a 3. And I got one person agreeing. Michael Ronquillo saying 1, so I like that. Jeremy Dressler coming in and saying, a 3? Are you kidding me? Well, we can have that conversation afterwards, guys. Along those lines, guys, boy, we're about ready to get out of here. So before you do, guys, I just want to please stick with us as I just hit a couple of things really quick. So thank you guys, everyone, for watching, listening to another great episode of the Denver Bronco Roundup. As always, we are presented to you by the Rocky Mountain Sports Network. Wanting fantastic coverage of your Colorado sports teams, check out the Rocky Mountain Sports Network coverage on Avalanche, Broncos, Nuggets, and even the Rockies. You can find them on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, or X if you wish, by searching Rocky Mountain Sports Network. Or what I'm going to do right now, guys, I'm going to try to just drop a couple of, I dropped the Rocky Mountain Sports Network page in the link. And like I said, search them out in those two places. So also, DBR fans, I got to thank our incredible sponsor in Willow Seasonings and Blends. The barbecue season isn't over. It's just heating up. Stock up on all your rubs and all your sauces by purchasing the best rubs and sauces, blue ribbon winning, from Willow Seasonings and Blend. Head on over to willowseasonings.com. That's willowseasonings.com. This one I'll give you a little bit of help with, guys, real quick. Right there up on our screen, willowseasonings.com. By the way, still have that promo code running, DBR 2023, exclusive code just for the DBR listeners. Get you 15% off. Helps a family in need over at Rocky Mountain Sports Network. Go over, again, willowseasonings.com. And while I'm at it, got everything lined up. There's that Rocky Mountain Sports Network website. It's rockymountainsn.com for anybody that's just listening and not tuning in visually. And if you go on the Facebook groups and just put in Rocky Mountain Sports Network, you'll find us there as well. Don't have anything there for X. Had to get the new X Twitter handle up there, guys. But Rocky Mountain Sports Network, search them out there, and we're all good. So, gentlemen, I'll start with Jody. Final thoughts before we ride out of here tonight?
Well, I'm just excited. Football's back. 2 more days. Kansas City, Detroit, Thursday night. Notre Dame, Saturday and Sunday. The Sean Payton era and Russell Wilson era begin. Can't wait. Expecting big things this year.
Yes. Long. Optimistic. I forget the other one, Albert, but Long was in there. I remember that. Long was in there. The long wait is finally over. There, he's got it again. Long, exciting, and optimistic. Thanks, Albert. Appreciate the help. The long wait is finally over come Sunday. We all get to finally tune into the games that matter, and I couldn't be more excited. Man, I kind of got I lost the website or the comments for a second, guys. But I'm gonna get to Albert real quick, get his final thoughts, see if there's anything in the comment board that we can put up here as we get out as well. But Albert, please take it away. Final thoughts, buddy.
Yeah, Michael Rocchio mentioned that Travis Kelce from the Chiefs had an injury on his knee, but it's only probably going to take him out for only, fortunately for him and for us, only for one game, because you don't want to see any player getting hurt that bad. I want to also mention all of the Facebook people who came in today and talked with us. Shout out Kenny, Michael, Chad, all of you who were here. Thank you for coming.
Michael, Michelle,
Jeremy,
Danny Kitchen, Ernie Mays. Man, we had a lot of good friends in there today.
Yeah, and I cannot forget my special one, Michelle. No, I really appreciate it for coming on the show, guys, and we really enjoy the conversations and that you bring to us. And thank you.
Yeah. Fantastic show tonight, guys. I can tell Broncos country, we're juiced up. We're excited. We're ready for game one. It's been a long time coming. We're optimistic. We're ready to go. As Facebook user comes in here, we all love the Broncos, 100%. Michael. That's Mr. Michael Ronquillo jumping in here. Appreciate it. appreciate everyone, and I'll get to some of these. Michelle jumping in here, and we appreciate this support for our sponsors as well. Just got our Willis Seasonings order today. Time for steaks tomorrow. Yeah, don't forget, make sure you're all grilled up for Sunday afternoon as well. Again, thank you to our parent company, Rocky Mountain Sports Network, who are presented by every single week. And thank you to Willis Seasonings and Blend, our sponsor, guys. All right, I'm going to get out of here. We're going to get out of here. Until we round up again, everyone, I want this, guys. I want you to keep... Yeah, I'm going to get everything queued up here as I get out of here. As we get out of here, sorry, I want you to keep your feet in the stirrups. I want you to keep your guns in your holster. And I want you to keep your Broncos, the Broncos, in your heart, guys. All right? Stay safe, my friends. Good night, everybody.